Welcome to Spooky News from Spooky Ventures for October 2nd, 2020. Also, welcome to October, which is when spooky season officially kicks in for those who aren't like us and all about the spooky year-round. Since getting back into the routine of doing these spooky news segments, I've been putting one out every other week. Now that's because they tend to be a bit time-consuming, and a lot of times there just really isn't enough stuff I find worthy of inclusion to fill up a segment every week. That said, I last did one a week ago, and the plan is to do one per week through October. Now I want to remind everyone that Spooky Ventures, and especially our YouTube channel, is supposed to be interactive. So please, interact. Like our videos, comment, share the videos. Be sure to subscribe. If you have some news you think I should include in a future spooky news segment, I am always open to suggestions. If you know of someone we should interview for our Spooky Interviews series, please let us know. And speaking of the Spooky Interview series, in case you missed it, we had a new one published on Tuesday. I got to pose some questions to Neal Gibbons of Graveside Paranormal about their investigations, an upcoming event they're going to have, and even his choices in horror. Be sure to give it a viewing if you haven't already. Also, this past Wednesday, we released a new spooky review of the recent Blu-ray release of Pitch Black from Arrow Video. If you haven't already seen that, be sure to check it out too. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get to the news. As I've mentioned in some previous spooky news segments, and I'm sure you know, many Halloween events are canceled this year, and many others are changed. I've said before, and I will say it again, don't assume an event isn't happening. Check around. They may have found new ways to adapt. All that said, even if your favorite event is canceled, you can still have fun this Halloween. I mean, with Halloween Horror Nights, one of the events that will not be happening in the year of COVID, John Murdy, who is the creative director of the event, has been kind enough to share some tips on creating your own scares at home this year. He talks about being creative, having a theme, and more in a new article at the Press Enterprise. Be sure to check out that article for some tips to bring the spooky season home in a time when we're all spending more time at home. Now, food is certainly a big part of Halloween celebrations, and perhaps more so this year. Whether you think about the candy that is traditionally given out for trick-or-treat, the monster cereals that come around every year, caramel apples, or pumpkin spice anything and everything, food definitely features in our Halloween traditions. This year, Aldi has something new. They're releasing a collection of Halloween cheeses. Yes, you heard that right, cheeses, and there is a pumpkin spice variety. But that's just one of the items available. That one is the scary pumpkin spice Wensleydale cheese, but the others are Batnit Crazy Cheddar, Freaky Franken Sage Derby, and No Rest for the Wicked Wensleydale. All come in spooky packaging and should be available by the time you watch this video. Check your local Aldi to find them. Are you a fan of Marvel Comics? They have a special treat coming for Halloween season. They're going to be issuing 8 special horror-related comic books with special covers. From the amazing Spiderman Vampire Hunter to Cap Wolf in Uncivil War, the comics combine classic horror comic book concepts with Marvel superhero titles. Now, it's a safe bet that many of you who tune into these spooky news segments are horror movie fans. Well, you should be interested to find out that a new study from American and Danish researchers suggests that horror fans are dealing with the pandemic psychologically better than a lot of other people. Now, the results don't just apply to horror movies, but also include fans of apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic type movies. They've also singled out 2 film types that are generally horror movies, zombie and alien invasion movies. Who knew enjoying horror movies was preparing us for times like this? Well, we're all ready, I guess. If you have Amazon Prime, you'll find 4 new movies from Blumhouse added for the month of October. The movies are titled Black Box, The Lie, Nocturne, and Evil Eye, and you'll note I've added the trailers to all of them to our Spooky Trailers playlist. 'Tis the season for horror, and I'm a big fan of Blumhouse, So it's great to get to see 4 brand new movies from the company. Speaking of new trailers, one has just been released for Clive Barker's upcoming film, Books of Blood. You'll find the trailer in the same place as the Blumhouse ones. The Barker movie is based on a series of his books. The movie has 3 separate stories in one film. Now looking to television, and back to Marvel, Marvel's new series Hellstrom has been announced for October 16th release on Hulu. A brand new trailer has been revealed and has been added to our trailers playlist. I am particularly interested in this series. It's a horror series, so that would have my attention anyway. But the title character, Daimon Helstrom, I note that they have removed one of the L's from his name, was always one of my favorites. He was literally the son of Satan, and that was actually another name his character went by. He always had an inner conflict between his quest to fight evil and the evil that lived within him. I thought that made the character very interesting, and I hope that complexity is brought to the series. I know that I love the trailer, so hopefully I'll feel the same way about the show. For those who have been patiently awaiting the second season of Netflix, The Haunting of Hill House, that wait is nearly over. The show will be added to Netflix 1 week from today on October 9th. I'm sure most of you know that the title will be The Haunting of Bly Manor. There's a new trailer for that show as well, and, as I'm sure you've guessed, it's been added to our playlist. Now, a couple of announcements and important dates should be mentioned. Remember to always check our spooky calendar at spookyventures.com to keep up with the dates. Today, October 2nd, the movie Death of Me opens in theaters and for streaming. We've got some birthdays coming in the next week, too. Anne Rice's birthday is Sunday the 4th, while Clive Barker's is the next day. Guillermo del Toro's birthday is next Friday the 9th. And a week from tomorrow, on the 10th, you'll find me at 11 a.m. Central Time in a virtual video author event. It's sponsored by the 815 Author Group, which is made up of authors around Rockford, Illinois. There will be 4 of us, myself, Heath Alberts, Julie Barthels, and Dan Clefstead, talking about our work, reading excerpts, and answering questions. I'll include the link information at the end of this video with all the other source and other URLs. That's it for the news this time. Remember, these times might be unusual, but that doesn't mean you can't make the most of your spooky season. Make this a Halloween to remember by doing something great with it. Something unusual. Have fun. I will probably be back in a week with more spooky news. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and always keep it spooky. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.